Okay, good morning. Today we are going to discuss about the tools and techniques. And in the previous classes we discussed about the benchmarking and information technology. And today we are going to discuss about the one more tool called as quality function deployment. One more tool called as quality function deployment. So what is quality function deployment? So if it's say quality is nothing but meeting the customer requirements. So function, so what is to be done in order to meet the customer requirement, and deployment, who is going to be do it, who is going to be do that, and as when is going to be do, when he is going to do. So this is a quality function deployment. And Dr. Mizuno initiated the quality function deployment, who is a professor in Tokyo Institute of Technology, and he has started with the quality function deployment. And what is a QFD? QFD is a planning tool. QFD is a planning tool used to fulfill the customer expectations. So as we discussed, the quality function deployment is main focuses on the customer. Main focuses on the customer. What the customer wants, what the customer requirements, what are the customer requirements, or what are the customer expectations about the product and all those. So that QFD is a planning tool. It is a planning tool which is used to fulfill the customer expectations. And it is a disciplined approach to product design and engineering and production, and also provides the in-depth evaluation of the product, and so in-depth evaluation of the product with relate to the customer expectations, with respect to the customer expectation or customer requirements. And QFD focuses on the customer requirements or expectations, often referred to as the voice of the customer. This QFD is referred as voice of the customer. So because the customer expectations or customer requirements will be taken into consideration. So that's why the QFD is sometimes it is called as the voice of the customer, and it is employed to translate the customer expectations. It is employed to translate the customer expectation in terms of specific requirements into directions and actions in terms of engineering technical characteristics. So it is employed to translate the customer expectations into a engineering characteristics or technical characteristics. So how it can be done. So when you look at this, a QFD team is going to be formed, and this is a team which consists of based on the management tool in which the customer requirements are used to drive the product development process. And QFD, it is a primarily a set of graphically oriented planning matrices that are used as the basis for decisions affecting any phase of the product development cycle. So first we'll discuss about what is the product development cycle. In each and every phases of this product development cycle, QFD is a kind of graphical representation and the matrix relations. So what is a QFD team? So QFD teams, in order to achieve this QFD, we need to form a team members. What are the team members which in a QFD team? So when an organization decides to implement the QFD, when an organization decides to implement the QFD, the project managers and the team members need to be able to commit a significant amount of time to it. Means here there are two types of teams, the QFD teams, which are there are two types. One is the designing a new product. Suppose when I want to design a new product with respect to the customer requirements, and that is called as designing a new product team. And improving an existing product. Suppose the existing product, as per the requirement of the customer, you are going to modify the product. Then there is a once again the QFD team is going to be formed in this case also. So in the both cases, that is designing a new product and as well as improving an existing product, the teams is going to be formed. But when compared to the designing a new product, improving an existing product, the team members will be very less. Whereas in the designing a new product, the team members are composed of from all the departments, various departments like marketing, sales, design, quality, finance, and productions. From all the other departments, the PFD team is going to be formed in the case of designing a new product. When the improving an existing product, the team members are not that much because already existing product, so just modification is required. So team members will be compared to the designing new product, it will be less. It will be less. What are the benefits of QFD? What are the benefits of QFD? So improves the customer satisfaction. It improves the customer satisfaction. Why? Because the QFD main focus is what on the customer requirements or customer expectations. So it identifies the items that can be acted upon. So here we are going to find out what are the items that is very important for the customer, and as well as it uses the competitive information. It uses the competitive information effectively in prioritizing the, effectively, and as well we are going to prioritize the resources as well. So improves the customer satisfaction because the QFD is main focus is on customer requirements or customer expectations, and reduces the implementation time. In sense which decreases the design change. I mean, midstream. Say for example, the product we designed and it is under process, and it is manufacturing process also started. So if there is any problem with the product, and like we have to go for the change in the design once again. We have to go in the change in the design set. So if I implement the QFD, in a particular organization, it reduces the implementation time. That is, we have done already the design changes. That's why decreases the midstream design changes, and it limits the post introduction problems, because the post introduction in post production, say for after production is started, then the problems which are going to occur will be minimized. So it limits the post introduction problems, and it avoids the future development redundancies, as well as surfaces missing assumptions. All this can be eliminated, so that reduces the implementation time, and promotes the teamwork. Because as we told that the QFD, when I want to implement the QFD, the team has to be formed. The QFD team, which is comprises of all the departments. So here we are going to achieve the teamwork. And it creates the communication at interfaces, different interfaces like production and quality, as well as marketing, design, engineering departments. All this, it creates a communication with all the interfaces, and it creates a global view out of the details, and provides the documentation. And the last benefit is provides the documentation. In the sense here, the documents rationale for design, and it is easy to assimilate, and the structure to the information, adapt the changes, provide framework for sensitive analysis. So we need to provide that the QFD is going to provide the documentation for any adaptation of the structure into the information. And as we told that the QFD, sometimes it is referred as the voice of the customer. The QFD, sometimes it is referred as the voice of the customer. What is the voice of the customers? So what are the words used by the customers, to describe their expectations. Their expectations are often referred to as the voice of the customer. So whatever the customer says, those words will be which describe their expectations. Those are all called as voice of the customer. And the driving force behind the QFD, is that the customer dictates the attributes of the product, because the QFD is a customer driven. QFD is a customer driven tool. So customer driven in sense, the customer is going to dictate the attributes of the products, means how the product should be. So based on the customer expectations or customer requirements, the product is designed. That's why the driving force behind the QFD is customer dictates the attributes of product. And the QFD team analyzes these customer expectations into more specific customer requirements. So QFD team, which takes what the customer wants, and that will be converted into more specific customer requirements. And the QFD team continually asks the questions, and answer the questions like such as, what does the customer really want? That is how the team is going to analyze the customer expectations. That is how the QFD team is going to analyze the customer expectations. What does the customer really want? What are the customer expectations? Are the customer expectations are used to drive the design process, and what can design team do to achieve the customer satisfaction? So these questions has to be asked by the QFD team, and as well as get the answers, and then they are going to get the customer expectations, and these are converted into customer requirements, specific customer requirements. And very importantly, when I am talking about the QFD, the house of the quality is very, very, very important. The house of quality in the sense, it's a primary planning tool used which in the QFD. It's a primary planning tool which is used in the QFD. So the house of quality, that is the house of quality. The house of quality, what it does, it translates the customer, I mean voice of the customer or customer requirements into design requirements. So customer specification or customer expectations are converted into design requirements in the house of quality. This house of quality helps us in translating the voice of the customer or customer expectations into design requirements. So the parts. So if you take this house in the sense which have general house, it's the meaning of general house only. So house has the walls and then ceiling, roof, and as well as the foundation and all those. So each consists of different, I mean, with respect to the requirements. So the parts of the house, the parts of the house of quality are described as follows. So the exterior walls, the ceiling, interior walls, the roof, the foundation. These are the general term which is used for in any house, right? So these what these infer. So the exterior walls of the house are the customer requirements. The exterior walls of the house are the customer requirements. So if you take the diagram here, so these are called, this is the this one and these are called exterior walls, and this one is also exterior walls. So voice of the customer and the customer requirement, priority, competitive evaluation, these are all called the exterior walls. So if it is a structure looks like a house, its structure looks like a house, and it has a roof, and it has a what you call foundation, and this is called interior walls, and this is called exterior walls. Okay, so here each represents its own category. And then exterior walls of the house are the customer requirements. So here if I say exterior walls, we have a left side wall and as well as right side wall. So listing of the voice of the customer, so this is what can called as left side wall, and this is called as a right side wall. Okay, right side exterior wall, right side exterior wall, left side in exterior wall. So in the left side exterior wall, it talks about the listing of the voice of the customer, and right side wall talks about the prioritized customer requirements. So according to the priority, we are going to list out the customer requirements on the right hand side, on the right hand side of the house, that is exterior wall. And then ceiling, the ceiling or second floor of the house contains the technical descriptors. So this ceiling is called as technical descriptor. The ceiling is called as technical descriptors, and we'll discuss what is the technical descriptors and all those. And the ceiling or a second floor of the house contains the technical descriptors, and the interior walls of the house are relationship between the customer requirement and technical descriptor. So the interior walls of the house means this is nothing but this one. The interior walls is nothing but it's a relationship matrix between the customer requirements and as well as technical descriptors or technical requirements. So this is the relationship matrix which talks about the between the customer requirements and the technical descriptors of the roof. Means it is the relation between the left side wall and the roof. Okay. So the interior walls which are talks about the relationships, and the roof of the house. The roof of the house is the interrelationship between the technical descriptors. Interrelationship means here the technical descriptors. This is called as a roof. This is called as ceiling, and this is called left side walling. So the relationship matrix between the left side wall and as well as ceiling. And whereas interrelationship is nothing but the relationship between the technical descriptors. Internal relationship between the technical descriptors gives the roof of the house. So the roof of the house is the interrelationship between the technical descriptors. Then what is the foundation? Foundation of the house is the prioritized technical descriptors. So here it talks about the prioritized technical descriptors. Here it talks about the prioritized customer requirements. So this foundation talks about the prioritized technical requirements, and here right side wall talks about the prioritized customer requirements, and the roof which talks about the interrelationship between the technical descriptors, and the left side wall starts with the left side wall. It starts with the house of quality or QFD starts with the left side wall. That is voice of the customer, means the customer expectations or customer requirements. Customer expectations or customer requirements. So it is going to start with the voice of the customer, and then it comes with the technical description. That is technical descriptors. That is nothing but technical descriptors. Then it comes with the relationship matrix, because we are going to build a relationship matrix between the customer requirements and technical requirements. Then go with the customer requirement prioritizing, and then technical requirement prioritizing, then interrelationships. So this is how the house of quality, the parts of the house of quality are described. The parts of the house of quality are described. So if you look at all this, I think if you go through the exterior wall, the ceiling, the interior walls, when we go with the example, we are going to better understand of this. Okay, right. So next we'll move to the building a house of quality. How to build a house of quality. So there are 7 steps in a building of house of quality. So we'll go with starting with, as I told you, that starting with the list of customer requirements. So list of customer requirements in the sense that the customer requirements may be primary requirements and secondary requirements or tertiary requirements. So categorizing into primary, secondary and tertiary requirements. So in this, the list of, it is nothing but it is a list of goals or objectives for the organization. It is a list of goals or objectives to the organization, because these are the customer requirements. These are customer requirements or customer expectations. And this list is often referred as the what's. See, if what customer want, what customer is required, what is the expectation. So it's nothing but the customer needs or customer expectations in relation to the particular product, in relation to a particular product. So you have to list out the customer requirements of any particular product. So here, this list is going to be a primary customer requirements, in the sense it may have, as I told you, that it may have a primary requirements, secondary requirements, and tertiary requirements, and so on. So here, if you look at the first one, see, it starts with the objectives. What the customer expects in a particular product. That is nothing but customer expectations about a particular product. So these customer requirements may be primary, secondary, or tertiary. Primary, secondary, or tertiary. So these are 3 types which you can. So this finally it is going to be the list of customer requirements. As we told, that primary, secondary, tertiary, and so on. We are going to divide them into according to the dependency, according to the requirements, which is primary, which is most prioritized. That is called as primary requirements, and the secondary requirements, and then tertiary requirements, and so on. So if you look at here, a customer requirements about a particular product, where it is used in a particular application. So this performance aesthetics, this is called as primary requirements. This first column is customer requirements, and the second one, it talks about the primary as well as aesthetics. Primary, it is performance, and aesthetic, which will be taken as primary requirement for any customer. So the secondary is reasonable cost, aerodynamic look, that is nothing but aesthetic nature, and nice finish. Okay, nice finish, and corrosion resistance, lightweight. The product should be lightweight, and it should have a strength. And it should be durable. So these requirements are called as secondary requirements. These requirements are called as primary requirements. That is, performance aesthetic is called as primary requirements, and the secondary is in aesthetic. In aesthetic, we look at the reasonable cost and aerodynamic look, nice finish, corrosion resistant, and performance point of view, it's a strength. It should be durable. And lightweight strength. All these will be called as secondary requirements. So if you look at, so it starts with the listing of the objectives, then what the customer expects in a particular product, and customer requirements. Those are all listed out. So this is the first step in any QFD process of building a house of quality. So next is second one is the step 2 is list the technical descriptors. So technical descriptors, technical descriptor are nothing but technical requirements the technical requirements. See here, if you look at the second step, the QFD team is going to come up with the technical descriptors. How these technical attributes or design attributes affect the customer requirements. So the QFD team must come up with the technical descriptors, which affect the customer requirements. When the customer needs and expectations have been expressed in terms of requirements, the QFD team has to develop the technical descriptors that will affect the one or more customer requirements. That is the first thing that we are going to do in the case of technical description. These technical descriptors make up the ceiling or second floor, which we have talked about here, ceiling or second floor. So this is the ceiling or first floor, we can call as technical descriptors. Is going to be in the each engineering characteristics must directly affect a customer perception and be expressed in measurable terms. So whatever the engineering term or engineering characteristics which the affect directly the customer requirement, that has to be that has to be written here. That is what you can call as design attributes. So it starts, and second step, technical descriptors are nothing but once again the primary descriptors are primary characteristics and secondary characteristics. So here the primary and secondary, if you take the example for the which you have taken is based on the customer requirements. We have the primary descriptors or primary technical characteristics are manufacturing process and material selections. For any particular product, if I want to go for the customer as per the customer requirements, one is the material selection, the other one is manufacturing process which you are going to use. So because it has to be at reasonable cost as per the customer requirements. We need to go in the sense reasonable cost and then lightweight and all those. Then the material selection is also very important, and manufacturing process which you are going to use is also important. This is what you can call as technical descriptors. So how we are going to these technical description which are going to affect the customer requirement. Next, the third one is develop a relationship matrix between what's and how. That is what in the building of house of a quality. If you look at the previous figure, so this is the relationship matrix. That is interior walls. So you have done with the left side walls. That is the listing the customer requirements, and you are done with the roof or ceiling. You are done with the ceiling. Ceiling is nothing but technical descriptors. So first step is listing down the requirements of the customer. Second step is what are the technical descriptor or technical engineering characteristics which is going to be affect this customer requirements, that has to mention, like material selection and as well as the process with manufacturing process which are going to adapt So here if you talk about this develop a relationship matrix between what's and how's. They compare the customer requirements and technical descriptors. It's structuring an L-shaped diagram. It structures an L-shaped diagram which gives the relationship matrix. So here L-shaped diagram is going to be done. That is, a relationship matrix use symbols to represent the degree of relationship between the customer requirements and technical descriptors. And here the primary, this is what you can call as customer requirements, and this is called as technical descriptors. The relationship matrix is nothing but this the L-shaped diagram. So relationship, say for example, if I want to use the strength, then I have to go for the titanium alloy, and it can be forging. The manufacturing selection is going to be forging method, and which is the reasonable cost. And the strength point of view, I am going to go for titanium material. Material is going to be titanium is selected. So this is how the relationship is the first step in this case. And see here the relationship is mentioned with these symbols. As we told that the relationship matrix uses the symbols to represent the degree of relationship between the customer requirements and technical descriptors. So here I am going to use the symbol which is a strong relationship and medium relationship and weak relationship. Okay, so reasonable cost, aerodynamic, like how it is going to be reasonable cost, it is going to be weak because cost of the titanium is high. The cost of the titanium is going to be high. So the cost, when you compare to the cost, this relation will not be good because it will become weak because the titanium cost is high. And also the cost of the powder metallurgy process which I adopt, that is also highly cost. So these two cannot be done these two cannot be done. That material is cannot be used as a titanium, and the process motor metals cannot be used in respect to the with respect to the customer requirement of cost. With respect to the customer requirement of cost, and it is medium with the die casting method because it is a comparatively cheaper in a process manufacturing process. So die casting. So likewise, for each characteristic, we can get the relationship with the technical descriptors. Relationship with the technical descriptors. Next, develop an interrelationship matrix between the house. Correlation matrix. So here we need to develop an interrelationship which is called as roof of the house, between the descriptors, between the technical descriptors. So correlation matrix which we are going to use to identify any interrelationship between each of the technical descriptors. Symbols used to describe the strength of the interrelationship. Symbols we are going to use to describe the strength of interrelationship. So here, if you look at this one, this is the technical descriptors. Among the technical descriptors, we are going to build the relationship. See here, if the relationship is strong positive and the positive negative, strong negative. So if you look at this one, steel can be the material which can be manufactured by using the welding process. Manufactured welding process, that is strong positive, and also by using this the sand casting is also strong positive and strong negative. So this cannot be obtained by forging. Steels cannot be obtained by strong forging, and it is completely powder metallurgy cannot be used. So the relationship between the technical descriptors itself, that is material selection as well as manufacturing process, that is the interrelationship of the technical descriptors. So that is how the interrelationship is developed using the symbols. And next step is, after finding all this in relationship between the customer requirements and the technical descriptors, and the relationship between the technical descriptors itself. So then we'll move on to the competitive assessment. Here the competitive assessment talks about the pair of weighted tables, that it talks about the customer competitive assessment and technical competitive assessment. So it shows that the item how competitive products compare with the current organization products. Means competitiveness in the sense among the customer requirements or competitive assessment based on the technical requirements, which is we are going to compare with the other products which are produced by the different organizations. So here if you look at this, these are all called customer competitive assessment. Means customer requirements, based on that which is high, you are going to prioritize. Once again, we are going to prioritize based on the customer competitive assessment. See, our product, what the customer you are giving, and then A's product means the organization A, organization B are about their competitive assessment. So the customer competitive assessment has to be decided by calculations, and also this is the how we are going to customer assessment is going to be calculated based on the symbols, for product for the current product with 333 we got, and for A's product it is 443. So these calculations based on some equations. Okay, and then the technical competitive assessment. So if you look at this one, the bottom one, technical competitive assessment. So it is about the technical descriptors. About the technical descriptors, what is the technical competitive assessment? For the comparison with the other products, we are going to do. And see, based on that, we are going to find out what is the relation between our product and other products. Next, finally, develop the prioritized customer requirements. So you need to develop the priority as per the priority. I mean, prioritize the customer requirements. So importance to the prioritized customer requirements contains the importance to the customer, target value, scale of factor, sales point, and absolute weight. So prioritize the customer requirements. Importance to the customer means which ranks each customer requirements by assigning it rating. How we are going to do all those with the example we'll discuss. And target value, PFD team decides whether the company wants to keep their product unchanged or not. Okay, and scale of factor, the ratio of the target value to the product rating is given as scale of factor. And sales point is to promote the best customer requirement, which is the best customer requirement which improves the sales, and about absolute weight can be obtained by using the equation, that is importance to the customer into scale of factor into sales point. So by calculation all this, see, prioritize the customer requirements, we obtain that 1.685, 16, 8, 5, 2, 18 and all those. So 18 is the periodized, so it will goes with the lightweight is the importance and the reasonable cost. Second requirement is reasonable cost. So these two is prioritized customer requirements. First one is lightweight, second one is reasonable cost. That is how we are going to prioritize the customer requirement. Prioritize the customer requirement. And finally, prioritize the technical descriptors. Similarly, customer requirements in the same way, the technical descriptors has to prioritize. So prioritize the technical descriptors contains the degree of technical difficulty, target value, absolute weights, and relative weights. So how these can be calculated? So degree of difficulty, it is in terms of least difficult and very difficult. Means the material selection is least difficult or difficult, or the process which you are going to take is also described by using the degree of difficulty. And also target value of the each technical descriptor is also included below the degree of technical difficulty. And absolute weight is calculated using the Aij is equal to summation of Rij into Zij. That is the Aij says the row vector of absolute weights and weights assigned to the relationship matrix. That is the relationship matrix which I have obtained, and the weights are assigned to that. And based on that, we are going to calculate the absolute weights. And relative weights are nothing but relative weights for the J technical descriptor is given by the replacing the degree of importance for the customer requirements with the absolute weight for the customer requirements. So if you look at this diagram, so here the degree of technical difficulty is given 1 for the material selection of steel. Steel can be easily selected, there's no difficulty, but when you compare to the titanium, because there is a technical difficulty, because of the cost of the material and all those, and also the powder metallurgy. So based on that, the rating will be given. And similarly, the target value will be given for this, and absolute value is going to be calculated. Then relative value is going to be calculated. Based on that, the prioritize the technical descriptors. Based on that, prioritize the technical descriptors. So which gives the highest value, that will be taken as highest priority, and then we will move on. So this is about the different steps which are going to building the house of the quality. So this is how the house of quality is going to be built. Next, we'll move to the QFD process, which is the talks about the phase 1, phase 2. There are 4 phases in a QFD process. Starts with the planning phase, that is the product planning phase. Where it talks about the how we are going to begins with the customer requirements. And here, if you look at the first phase, that is begins with the customer requirements. Say a set of design requirements is going to be determined. In the right side, if you look at, for the set of customer requirements, design requirements is determined, and that will result in achieving the customer requirements. The next chart is going to be talks about the part development. So design requirements from the first chart is going to be carried out to establish the part quality